Hello, I'm Kim Taeyeon from 279기. Today, me and my group members will be your tour guide today at the 경복궁 Palace. We are going to see the king's living quarter, queen's living quarter, and their lifestyles, and how did the queen become the queen. So let's start with the king's living quarter, shall we? Now we're in front of the king's living quarter. King's living quarter is called 강령전, and 강령전 of 강령 means stay healthy and peaceful. After all the work was done, king had a rest here, and he slept here, and he ate every meals here. And sometimes he discussed about the national things with his officials privately. Can you guys guess why they had this meeting secretly? Because there are some important officials among all of them. So they had to have a meeting inside his personal space so that others cannot hear it. But of course, the writers followed the king everywhere. Writers are called 서기 in Korean, and they follow the king everywhere they go, and every word he said, every sentence, every alphabet he said. So it is written down. So now we know what they did in the past. Can you see there is no white line on the roof? Can you guess why? First, I will show you how the white line looks like. This is how this white line is supposed. This is line how it looks like. It's called Yongmaru in Korean, but can you guess why there is no dragon ridge on the Gangneungjeon's roof? The dragon means the king at that time. There was no need to make the dragon ridge on Gangneungjeon as the king himself is the dragon, and he stayed there, so there was no need for two dragons to be in same place, Gangneungjeon. That's why there is no dragon ridge over here. This is a short speech for Gangneungjeon and Dragon Ridge. Next, Im Chanyeong will tell you about the king's lifestyle and how did it become a king. Thank you for listening to my commentary, and I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope it was an educational time. And I also hope that you have a little interest in our Korean culture, and thank you for listening.
I'm Sebastian Lim, and I will now tell you about the king's daily life. Most people think kings are very free and can do anything during the day. Well, now I'll tell you the real daily life of the king. After studying during the day, he interviews new students and studies again in the evening. After studying, eating dinner, and then greeting the royal adult in the evening, as in the morning, he goes to the bed. He spent 3 studies a day, 2 greetings, morning and afternoon work, and a day without a personal routine, which is a free day. In these days, Sunday and Saturday, the king ate total 5 meals a day. The breakfast dinner was called surasang, and he ate lunch early morning and late night, and the 12 half dishes and sets of the foods do not receive anyone but only the king and queen. At Joseon Dynasty, they took care of the king's health by putting on a table with the thought that the food to eat was medicine. For health, he often eats wild vegetables and eats longevity food. In the Joseon Dynasty, there were public offerings that brought local specialties to the king. So the kings ate with good food from Palto Island. The place where the king ate was mainly in sediment. But the place where the king ate was on the room. Before the king ate, Sang tasted food to check for poison, and the king ate using silver spoons and chopsticks, but first ate a spoonful of dongshi soup. The average life expectancy of the kings who eat a lot of good things and take care of them is 46 years old. In addition, there are 11 kings who have not reached the age of 40, because even living 40 years old was living very long, unlikely to these days. But there are many reasons why the kings have not lived for a long time. but I think it is because of the extreme care. I think that is caused by severe stress due to lack of exercise while eating nutritious food. However, the king lived infinitely longer than ordinary people those days. The average life expectancy of men in the Joseon dynasty was 35, Yeongjo, who lived until the age of 83 and became king. Here is a brief summary of the king's daily life. They wake up at 5 a.m. and do a morning greeting to the elders in the palace. Then at 6 a.m., he eats breakfast until 7 a.m. Then for 2 hours, which is until 9 a.m., he does the morning study, which is called 조강. After the morning study, he does the morning lookup meeting with his officials until 10 a.m. Then he does the evening business for 2 hours, which is until 12 a.m. Then he eats his lunch until 1 p.m. Right after, he again starts his study for 1 hour until 2 p.m. And this is called 주강, not 조강. And for 3 hours until 5 p.m. he confirmed the clerical worker inside and outside the palace. After he has to do the evening study until 6 p.m. This time it's called 석강. Then comes the dinner time for 1 hour until 7 p.m. Then finally he does the evening greeting and comes back to his quarter and reads the book and gets ready to sleep around 9 and finally sleeps. As I said above, they had a very busy day and they also rarely exercise. So the kings has a serious lack of exercise. Some kings are born weak, but excessive drinking, which is too much alcohol, and sexual lives are also recorded as cause of the disease. The king's life was not as you think, right? It was really strict and harsh, unlikely to the expectations of the kings that we're having. Now I finish my explanation. Yoon-seo will explain about the 교태전, which is Queen's living quarter.
From now on, I'm going to explain about the 교태전, which is the Queen's living place. If you see the word 교태, it means that by the combination between the earth and sky, the new living is born. This building was used for the Queen's living and working place, the place where the king and queen had slept, and lastly, the place where Queen had gave birth to the prince or the princess. By the combination of the earth and sky, which means the combination of the king and queen, the new living is born, which means the prince and the princess. So this building had done a lot of work, but the most important thing was that it was the place where Queen had gave birth to the prince who will be the future king. So by that, it was one of the most important buildings in the palace. If you go behind this Queen's living place, there are a small garden for the Queen. When Queen moves into the palace, she was not able to go out of the palace. So as a meaning to comfort her sad feelings, they had made a small garden for her in back of her living place. So this place is called the Amisan Mount. So if you see the garden, there are the stone-flowered stairs. And normally it was made with the natural hills. Amisan Mount was made by the earth while they were building the Gyeongharu Pavilion. So if you see the garden more carefully, you can see many stones and strange statues. They say that this kind of form is only seen at the Korean gardens. Also, in between the plants and the decorations, you can see 4 chimneys. And this chimney was put in here because there was a heating system inside the Queen's living place. So, from protecting the building for getting burning by the fire, they had to put the chimney where its heat can't reach the building. So, from now on, you have seen the Queen's living place and the back garden of the Queen's living place. Next, Jiwon will explain about the Queen's everyday life.
This is John So from 279, and I'm going to talk about the daily life of the Queen in Joseon. The position of Queen of the Joseon dynasty requires various responsibilities as the hostess of the palace, the mother of the future king, and furthermore, the mother of the country Joseon. Since the Queen's role is influential, the destiny of Joseon greatly depended on the characteristics of each queen. Did the queens with such differences also live a lifestyle that are completely different from each other, like their personalities? From now on, I am going to talk about how the queens live in the palace. First is to inform the king the sound of the rooster, or kaemyeong. Kaemyeong means the breaking sound of the rooster in the morning in the Chinese language. Informing the king of the sound of the rooster is the beginning of the day of a queen as a wife of the king. The queen wakes up earlier than the king at around 4 a.m. and tells the king that the rooster cried, as the purpose of preventing the king from being lazy. The second is greetings to the elders of the royal family. The kings and queen have their visits and greetings together to Taesangwang and Sangwang and Taeyangdebi and Mangdebi. Visiting Debi was mostly the queen's responsibility than the king's. It is said that the king and the queen sometimes visited Debi together for special occasions, but the queen usually visited and gave greetings alone in the morning. The third, receiving greetings from the government officials. As receiving the greetings of the officials, the queen take a role as a public and formal position as the mother of the country Joseon, rather than her personal roles as a wife and daughter-in-law. Fourth is greetings from prince, princess, and concubine. Next, she receives greetings from the prince or princess and concubine. Through this action, the queen strengthened her position as the adult of the royal family. Taking care of the palace is the fifth one. While the king is in Pyeongjong for a morning debate, the queen takes care of the palace as the grand housekeeper. The queen divides women in the palace into two categories, internal and external officials, who are named the Ministry of Palace Affairs. 6. Receiving surasang. Unless it is a special occasion, the king and the queen receive the surasang together, but they don't see each other's face while having foods. Surasang has 12 side dishes that change depending on the season, and they are served with 3 dining tables, including a side dish table and a desk table. 7. Working in the palace. Around 11 a.m., as the national mother of a country, she acts as a blueprint not only for the internal members of the royal family, but also for the millions of the people of Joseon. The last one is educating her children. The queen is also a mother, specifically a mother of a prince and princess who will eventually become the leader, king or queen of Joseon. Therefore, queen had to pay extra attention to the education of the prince and princesses. The last words I want to say before I finish is that we have to know our history to move on to the future. Therefore, I hope that all of us should not be ignorant of our history and be proud to let the world learn about ours. Thank you for listening. From now on, Kaun will explain about Jagyongjeon.
Hello, my name is Gang Kim and I would like to talk about Jagyongjeon Hall today. Jagyongjeon, also called as Jagyongjeon Hall, was rebuilt by Hongsan Daewongun. During the reconstruction of 경복궁 Palace, he rebuilt it for Queen Shinjong, who is the legal mother of King Gojong and the real mother of King Hyunjong. It was first constructed in 1865 but had to be rebuilt in 1888 due to the destruction by fire. The loft located on the southeast part of the compound is called Cheongnyeonlo, and it was the place where you could stay cool and hide from the sun during the hot summer. On the other hand, if you go to the northwest part of the compound, you'll see a place where all the bedrooms are together.
It is called Bogandang, and it was the place where you could stay warm and hide from the freezing cold during winter. Oh, and I almost forgot to talk about the longevity chimney. There were dozens of houses, walls, and doors during before, but most of them have disappeared and only a few left. And if I want to talk about two, I would like to introduce you to the flower wall and the longevity chimney. Just like you can expect from its name, the flower wall is the wall that is decorated with flowers and bamboos and some butterflies. Next, if you go to the longevity chimney, it is the most representative of all in Chagangjeon, and it has the 10 signs which show the wishes of long life. To count them down, first the sun, then the mountains, then the clouds, the water, the rock, the deer, the turtles, the crane, and the pine trees, and finally the herb of eternal life. I really thank you for listening to my presentation. Since I know that it was like a really disorganized presentation, I really do thank you, and I hope you understood what I said. Next, Uno will explain about the 경회로, and I hope you have a good time there too. Thank you.
경회로 was the king's party place, and people enjoyed boating and fishing here. Please look on the first floor. There are 48 massive stone pillars, and there is a difference among the pillars. The outer pillars are square and the inner pillars are round. That's because the people of Joseon believe that the earth is square and the sky is round. And people held a party on the second floor because they could enjoy the beautiful scenery through the decorated window frame on the second floor. And you can also enjoy the scenery from April to October for free. And to the north, you can see the mountain Bukak, and to the west, you can see the mountain Inwang. And to the east, you can find the lines of the roofs of the various buildings. And to the front, people could see the Namsan, though there are many tall buildings now. Did you have a good time to know the 경복궁 Palace? I hope so. And thank you for watching this video. And if you visit 경복궁 Palace, it will be a wonderful experience. Thank you.